Okay, so here is my Rover for Ram120. We're going to start with an overview of the electrical components, and then I will go into the mechanical aspects, how I put it together, and finally we're going to run some of the programs that are installed on it. So first, if you look at this bottom base plate, in the front you'll see the power switch. Let me get on this side and get a better shot of that. So the power switch is right there. The power switch powers 5 volts to the motor controller and eventually to the Netduino, which kind of serves as the programming aspect of it. On this side we have the battery charger, so it runs on some AA batteries that are in the Rover body underneath. You can also plug a 12-volt source into this guy right here and it'll charge the batteries for you. Next it moves on to the motor controller, which is right down here. And eventually the motor controller goes across the LS244 chip, which is here where all the wires are, to provide 3.3 volts to the Netduino right here, because the Netduino cannot operate on 5 volts, it needs 3.3, so the LS244 helps with that. Finally, in front we have the sensor board here. It has an infrared sensor on the front, which allows the Rover to detect obstacles that may be in its way. And it also has a sonar sensor to detect any obstacles that the infrared one cannot, such as like a glass door or something along those lines. Now for the whole body of the Rover, I opted to use plexiglass and cut it from the laser cutter in the makerspace. So I designed all the base plates and the bumper that you can see here. And laser cut those out. So how the bumper works is it's got this spring right here in the front, so if it's bumped it'll be knocked back into place. And so if it is bumped, you'll see on both sides back here there is a switch, and so if the switches are hit, let me go to the other side here, if the switches are hit, the Rover will perform a particular maneuver just to get around the object that it's come in contact with there. So, with that said, let's go ahead and run a couple programs on it. Okay, so for this portion, we are going to run the basic rover.move program. So this is the program that we use to define all the basic movements of the Rover. So you're going to see that it's going to move forward, move backward, rotate right, rotate left, pivot right, pivot left, and then finally it's going to stop. So first I'm going to hit the reset button on the Netduino here. Get going. Alright, this time I'm going to demonstrate the basic bumper functionality. So what I'm going to do is we're going to drive the Rover right into this wall here. It's going to bump into it, it's going to back up, and then rotate around it. So let me reach in here to switch it on. And we'll see what happens here. And then it'll keep operating as it should.